Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is another how-to on a common pose that you may see during your yoga practice. And today is all about triangle pose, otherwise known as Trikonasana. This pose is a really great pose to do because it allows you to bring alignment into both sides. It's actually a symmetrical type pose where you can find if you do it on the left hand side, you can then do it on the right hand side, and you might come across that one side is better than the other, which is a really great tip to reading your body and asking yourself, okay, if I'm a little tighter on the right hand side and I've got a little bit more range on the left hand side, I will then focus my practice today on the right hand side. So that comes under the guise of what we call asymmetrical guiding principle. So it's reading your body, listening to where you are feeling those parts of resistance, those tension points, and then allowing yourself to add that into your practice a little bit more. So working more on the side that you feel needs a little bit more work. So with Trikonasana or triangle pose, there are many variations. And today is all about entering and exiting this pose safely at a beginner's level so that you understand how to get into this pose well, so that you can enjoy your practice for many years to come. Now, 3 things you need to remember about triangle pose. Number 1, it is a lateral side stretch, which means you're focusing on one side at a time. Okay, so if you have starting out on the right hand side and you find that you are a little tighter on that side, you hop up and you can go into that one again. You don't have to always go into the left hand side. Number 2 is we're wanting to stretch the outside of our body, contracting the lower side. So depending on what side you're bending to is where the lateral stretch and the contraction will be. So we'll go into that a little further when we go through the pose. And 3, be mindful that there are variations as to where your hands can land. But do this in your own time. Do not be forced by what you see out in the ether about having to get the perfect pose and getting those hands on the ground, making sure that it looks like a triangle as the pose states. You are needing to just read your body and allowing yourself to come into the pose where your body is allowing you to at this point. Over time, you will see this pose through practices. So take that as your opportunity to practice, to challenge yourself, to reach a little further, to breathe a little deeper into that pose. But in the beginning, you must listen to that body of yours. You must just land your hands wherever they go, be it on your thigh, your shin, your calf, the floor, wherever it is exactly where it should be for you at this moment. So let's get started into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Okay, so here we are on our mat. We're going to take a wide stance so that we have our toes pointing to the long edge of the mat. We're going to find our neutral pelvis, which we've done many times before in previous videos. Just rock that pelvis of yours. You will know when you've got a nice long straight spine and a nice neutral pelvis to start protecting your body as we go in and out of these postures. And we'll take our hands to the sides of our body with our fingers pointing out, our palms facing down. We will go to the right hand side this time. So let's just turn our right foot to the short edge of the mat. Adjust your gait here to whatever is comfortable for you. So you may have a shorter gait, you might have a wider gait. It really depends on your range and your flexibility. But you must remember that when we come into this pose and we are doing a lateral bend, we are putting a small amount of pressure and tension onto our knees. So we don't want to add any more torque than we need to, that is unnatural, when coming in and out of the pose. So we've got our arms out. We've got our right foot in this instance pointing to the short edge of the mat, and make sure we're not hyperextending our knee so that we've got a soft knee. Okay, and again, remember, as we bend into it, you may need to bend your knee in order to get into the pose. Perfectly fine. Here we go. Standing up nice and straight, we're going to have our shoulders down and away from our ears. As we've got our hips pointing forward, our right foot turning to the short edge of the mat, we're going to take an inhale into the center of the chest. So take that now. And as we exhale, we're going to contract the lower abdominal muscles in order to protect our spine. We are then going to start bending on the same plane through our arms over to the right hand side. Okay? And here we are, we're in triangle pose. You will notice I've still got some integrity in the side here where I'm contracting. There's a nice stretch up the left hand side. Now, if you do need to bend your knees, bend your knee as much as you need, and then just allow your arms and your gaze to go where it would like. So arms are pointing up. We want that left hand to go skyward. Our right hand is going to go down towards our knee. Okay, if your hand is by your thigh, excellent. If your hand is to the knee or to the shin, excellent. And if you are able to get it down to the ground, excellent. All of these are okay. It's whatever is right for your body. Your gaze can go down to the ground, and we'll stay here for a breath or two. And when we're ready to come out, we'll take an inhale, protecting that lower spine. And let's just bring ourselves up to standing. And you may want to twist that right foot back down to the long edge of the mat. Exhale as we take our arms down. Triangle pose done on the right hand side. We can go and do that again on the left hand side. So again, find your balance, find your neutral pelvis, arms out by the side. Inhaling. We'll twist our left foot around to the short edge of the mat. And you might be able to find that your heel of your left foot and the arch of your right foot are in alignment. Okay, so take that here. Inhale into the center of the chest, protecting that lower spine with a lower abdominal contraction. We bend over to the left hand side, sending our right hand up, and our left hand lands where our body is comfortable. We can take our gaze downward to the ground. Take a few breaths here. Again, if you need to bend that knee, you bend it as much as you need so that you're not putting extra torque onto that knee. Inhaling, protecting that spine with a contraction, back up to standing. Twist your left foot around. Exhale, arms down by the side, bending your knees softly, and you can just walk yourself back into standing. There we have it, triangle pose or trikonasana. So it is simple in its practice, but there still are a few things that you need to think about. One, that it's a lateral side bend. So we're having a stretch on one side and there will be a contraction on the other side. Don't mistake that contraction for a collapse, okay? Keep control of that contraction. Add triangle pose to your practice. Keep with the practice and just challenge yourself every time you come to it. Can you breathe a bit deeper? Can you stretch a little further? Can you reach your hands further down your leg? Just making sure you're coming in and out of the posture safely. Have a wonderful day, and until I see you again on the mat for another how-to, take care.